Hello viewers and welcome back to the channel, it's Chunky here. We're at Road Atlanta this week for Daily Race C. And yes, it is Daily Race C and you are seeing a standing start, which I think makes a massive difference at the starts of the race and allows for a bit more closer racing right from the off. Although if you're not ready it will cause some issues with false starts at the beginning, as you can see here with Alexi just jumping the gun, and also with me expecting the ghosting to last a bit longer. It didn't, and I've just gone straight into the back of Alexi, but by the look of it no harm has really been done other than a bit of bumper damage at the front and back, and we just carry on with the race as normal. Now with the standing start, the first lap is going to have the whole pack really bunched up, and as you can see it's about 2.8 seconds from 8th place to the leader. But it does cause a little bit more chaos, as you can see the mirror there behind. The yellow car's just gone into the blue car and knocked them both out. Although it leaves us in a nice little group of 7 cars, and we pull away from Knight Rider in P8. But that group of 7 is just about to become 5, as I think Pesel and Radmares here just gone a bit deep. And that allows us just to have a nice little run on the closer right here as we move into P4. Now a big shout out to GTP Alexi here, who didn't put up a fight and just let us go through and live to fight another day. And we take the inside line going into this last chicane, and as we do, the closer makes a dodgy move here. They've gone for a gap that doesn't really exist. It's forced me to go wide, take avoiding action, and then go into Colin. Now I know you want to win the races, but Closerer, please just hold back. You could have just got us at another point without forcing your way through and causing 2 people behind to make contact where there really wasn't a need for it. But as we move a bit further on into lap 2, there's a yellow flag, and as you can see Bob's just had a bit of an issue on their own, unfortunately. And that will hand the lead over to the Closerer, who's going to make a little breakaway from the rest of us. And as we go in towards the top of the hill, Colin and Pesel have had a little bit of a contact, which is quite common there at that part of the track in these Daily Race C, but that gives us P2. Now not much happens between lap 3 and 6, but this is where the race really starts to get interesting. At this point we're now sitting behind Colin, who's managed to get back ahead of us. Alexi is in 3rd, with Radmares just behind the Closerer. Now we've got to take it a bit easy and just not make any mistakes, so I'm going to sit behind Colin for a little bit and just see what we can get out of it really. This is about the 4th or 5th race that I've done this week at Road Atlanta, and it's a track that needs a lot of rhythm and you need to be good on your braking points. And the first few races I was really struggling here with turn 1, but by this point I was quite getting the hang of it, and in some corners I was actually backing off a bit more than I normally would, just to not go into the back of Colin and just keep the momentum going, because if you have any little issue, the power of these cars isn't great. So it's going to take you that little bit longer to get back up to speed, and you'll probably lose the slipstream, which is not something you want to do. So we're just taking it easy, and just trying to be close enough when I get onto the back straight, because I knew this section here was also a bit where I'd struggle. So I just wanted to make sure that by the time I'm on the back straight I could actually get into that slipstream and try and catch up a bit closer to the guys up ahead. And I also knew that the guys behind weren't really going to threaten me anytime soon, so my main concern was just to keep in touch and just be ready to attack when I got the opportunity. Now going down the hill into this section here, I struggle to say the S's, so I'll just refer it to a chicane. It's just easier to pronounce, but we're going to get that nice little run going down the hill into the last turn on Colin, and just hugging this corner here I've got right into his slipstream, and I thought I need to make the move. I've also got to be wary that I need to hit my braking point and actually get the corner as we make a bit of contact. Now I thought I've gave enough space, but let me know in the comments if you think that it was a bit too aggressive and that I should have given the place back. Personally, I thought it was a bit of a racing incident and that Colin maybe could have given a little bit more space. But as we get past this section, I didn't get the best first sector. Colin is catching up a little bit more, but we are also catching up to P3 and P2. But whereas before I didn't really have to worry about anyone behind, I now was in a position where I've got someone right behind me within half a second, and that's right into the slipstream. So they're going to get more of a tow than I'm getting at this point. And I'm going to be constantly looking at my mirrors and hoping that there's not going to be a lunge. And now I don't think that there was on this occasion, as I'm just focusing now on my breakpoint. That Road Atlanta sign, as we go back into the chicane, I got a little bit out of shape, and that's going to give Colin a bit of a run. And even with that, I'm still getting a run on the guys up ahead. They're battling going into turn 1. They're too wide side by side, and as they go into corner, there's a bit of contact. Alexi loses speed, and this is where you have to be careful. Like any little touch, and you're going to struggle all the way up that hill. But I've made a little mistake there. Alexi's tried to avoid contact and compromise himself, and that's allowed Colin to get back in front into P4, which is going to put me under pressure as I go wide here. And even though I've got a nice run out of there, I'm just going to be praying I don't get a penalty. But what happens? We get a half-second penalty. Now the guy up ahead also gets one, and the track limits come back into play. And as we go into the straight, the lead has also had a bit of an issue. Now we've got the top 5 within about 5 seconds of each other, but 2 of us are just about to serve our penalties as we move out of the way, which is something I think everyone should do. When you serve your penalty, get off the racing line until you're fully up to speed again. But that drops us to P5, but it does bring P2 closer to P3 here. What it does do at the same time is allows Closer to just bolt, and at this point we're not going to catch them again. But all we could do now is try and get a podium. Also, with my driver rating taking a bit of a beating for the last week or so, I do really just need to finish the race. So P5 is a very good result for me at this occasion. So I'm still taking it easy going into here and just trying to keep touch like I've done before, because I'm not sure if you guys are a bit like me, but when it gets to the nitty gritty, my muscles are tensing up, and trying to keep that steering wheel in a straight line, it's not easy. Added to that, my feet get a bit twitchy, so I don't know if I should be pressing the brake pedal or the accelerator, and at times those mistakes, and it will cause me to lose lap time as well. But that's not happening just yet, and I'm still keeping in touch with the guys up ahead, although I do struggle in that corner like I mentioned before, and I'm just losing a little bit of touch. But by the time we get to the end of the straight, we are starting to gain a little bit more again. And in my head I'm just thinking, just stay on track, stay on track, just stay on track, and hoping that there's a bit of contact up ahead. Now, one thing that's been quite good in this race is just how clean people were racing. A bit of contact, a bit of rubbing, that's racing. And I think that's what's happened between Radmares, Colin, GTP and myself. We've been quite fair with each other, whereas here as Radmares, there's no contact and they just go wide. So it does leave a 3-horse race for the last lap and a bit, and Colin's there in P2 with Alexi behind, and at this point I'm just got to focus on finishing the race. I'm P4, a lot higher up than I was expecting in the first place, and by no means am I not going to go for it. If I see a gap, I am going to go for it, but I'm not just going to go for any random overtake. I'm not going to force anything, and it's really going to come down to the slipstream on these last 2 straights. But as I go on to that one, I have another little bit of a wobble, which doesn't really cost us that much, as we're managing to stay in touch with Alexi. But it's becoming quite tricky with Alexi also getting the slipstream from Holland. But as you can hear in the background, I'm coughing a little bit, I'm getting a little bit jittery, and trying to not ram into the back of anyone here, especially after being late on the brakes going into the corner. By doing that, it's actually cost us, and this has probably cost us a big chance of actually getting into P2, because even though we're getting the slipstream here on this more straight, it's actually not going to be enough to get anywhere near the battle, and I'm going to have to back off here again. And as I go up the hill, I've got nowhere to overtake, so I've got to sit behind Alexi here and just try and buy my time until I get to the next straight, because that would probably be the only opportunity that I have now. But as we go into this section here, I'm pushing a bit too much, go a little bit wide, and we nearly lose control of the car. But luckily didn't meet barrier on this occasion. But what did happen is we said goodbye to the guys in 3rd and 2nd, because at this point I can't see myself catching them unless there's some big contact, which after the race we've had I just can't see happening. And all I've got to do now is just hope. I'm breathing deep there, as you can hear in the background, and just admiring these 2 guys going side by side and praying, I'm praying. But no, they're clean, as you'd expect. And as we just go around the chicane, all we've got to do now is just keep it in a straight line and power home to finish the race in a respectable P4. And as always, just before we go, I just want to say a big thank you for taking time to watch the video. Please hit that like button, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you on the next video.